everybody, welcome back. It has been quite a bit. I am glad to be back. Hello everyone, welcome back on board to the American Rail Club. We're back! We are back, we're here, we're live. It is your host and conductor on this wild ride, Demetrius Villa. Yes, it has been quite a bit. We'll get into that a bit. Let's just say hello to everybody here. Hello, Dane. Yes, some time has passed. Hello, Grambo. Yes, everything has been okay. Yeah, it's been 7 months, David. Hello, good to see you again, David. David Mitchell and David Jackson. Hello, David Jackson. Yes, it's a good night for some transit talk. We're going to try to keep things a little bit, we're covering 3 topics tonight. That's what we're going to do. For those of you asking if we're going to be on Discord, not tonight. I had some trouble trying to get on Discord. Next week, we will bring back the Discord calls. Right now, we're just taking it step by step just to get in there, just to get back in the swing of things, get this train start moving again. As you know, it takes a lot of energy to get a train to start moving. And once we get the velocity going and moving down the track, it's just going to get there. Yep, just a little bit at a time, Dane. Yeah, we will be back, though. We will be back. All right. Hello, Adam. Yes, it has been a couple months. David Mitchell. Yes, we will get back to talking to the lounge. I want to hear from everybody back again. If you guys have any comments or questions or anything you want to go over tonight, please put it down in the comments in the chat below. We will go through it. Yes, a lot has been changing with transit and trains. Yes, Adam. Hello, CTR Lee. Hello, Renell Reed. Hello, Rick Tuck. And Ricardo Noel. Yes, we are back. Everybody, I'm great to see everyone back. Hello, Worldwide Railway fan. Okay, fellow Powers, back in college for round 2. Yeah, so things have been going crazy, guys. Finally got myself a little bit more settled down over here. I got an actual job now, so I can finally get back on the road. It's my first actual, good paying job since the layoff after COVID. So it's been quite a bit. We can say the C word now, right? That C word on YouTube, I think. I don't know. But yeah, so that's been going on. I've been having some car issues, like major car issues. That's starting to get fixed now. So things are starting to normalize again. Things are starting to normalize. And if by any chance, if you see the background is different behind me, we're in a different location at this point. I was trying to get back to my normal location. We still have that. We still have the Indianapolis location. We're still there. We're still in Indianapolis, but we'll get back to there at some point with everything. But I've rigged up everything to at least work for now, so it will work. It will work. But we're covering 3 topics tonight. Okay, 3 big topics that is affecting everybody right now. Okay, number 1, Union Pacific, the explosive development of Union Pacific. Number 2 is the Union Auto Workers strike, or the United Auto Workers strike, and how that's going to affect infrastructure. Because of course we know we're stuck with cars, as we are in this country, but how that's going to affect rail in general, and how that's going to also affect just cars in general as well. We're going to go into that, and of course we need to end the night, at least end this trifecta of news with Brightline, because this coming week right now, since Sunday is a new week, it's going to be a massive week for Brightline. So I can't wait to get into all this. We'll prepare. But right now, let's get into the news. And let's start with this. By any chance, also, guys, if my mic is popping or anything like that, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Hopefully it's not ringing into everybody's ears. Just to make sure we're nice and chill tonight, we also got something to chill us off. We got, what is this, from Belgium, from Ruben's neck of the woods. If Ruben's on here, we miss you. Hope everything is going well with you as well, because Ruben's been going through a tough time, guys. Pray for him as well. La Chouffe, I think. This is made by some Belgian elves somewhere, some nice ale. So we're getting back into the groove here, guys. We're getting back to it. Yes, Brian Rock Rail fan, I'm glad I'm back here. Yes, I hear you. Happy Rosh Hashanah to our Jewish friends as well, if we can say that, right? Yeah, there is an echo here in this room. It's quite a empty room, except for me. There's a big personality here in this room. No, I'm trying to be humble here, right? Will I be back permanently? Yes, I'm trying to be back permanently. We're trying to get a weekly stream up as well as, because I have a whole bunch of, I know, I keep saying that I have a whole bunch of topics I want to cover and want to make actual videos of. I want to get back to the actual real videos again, not just the streams, because I know you guys really miss those. So we will get there. So let's start with this sort of timeline of events of this week. So funny enough, I was looking this up earlier this week. Federal railroad inspectors find alarming number of defects on Union Pacific this summer. This was, let's remind of the date here. It's September 10th, 2023, September the 10th. Omaha, Nebraska, federal inspectors said they found an alarming number of defects in the locomotives and rail cars Union Pacific was using at the world's largest rail yard in western Nebraska this summer. And the railroad was reluctant to fix the problems. You see what we're getting here, guys, right? This is, again, note the date, September the 10th, 2023. Okay? And this represents a significant risk to rail safety on the Union Pacific Railroad. That is from Federal FRA Administrator Amit Bose, who wrote a letter to UP's top 3 executives. Bose said 19.93% defect rate on rail cars, and this is whopping 69% rate for locomotives that inspectors found in July and August, about twice the national average. But the letter didn't detail what kind of defects inspectors found in the Bailey Yard in North Platte. This is we're starting to set up here. The compliance of the rolling stock freight cars and locomotives on the UP network is poor, and UP was unwilling or unable to take steps to improve the condition of their equipment, Bose said in his letter. Now, for those of you who have been on this channel for quite a bit and have been following along, if I go ahead and control, precision, don't see any PSR. No mentions of precision scheduled railroading or PSR. For those of you who are new, who don't know what PSR, precision scheduled railroading, even mean, we'll get to that. We will get to that in a second. But there's been no mention of that. Notice in this whole article talking about this, the calm before the storm over here. And of course, Union Pacific, how do they address the problem? There's safety issues on the board. Yes. Layoff. We'll lay off a whole bunch of people. That's a good way we can do it. We can save money, right? Let me see. Bo's question was the recent layoffs of 94 locomotive craft employees and 44 carmen across Omaha, Nebraska-based railroad that is one of the nation's largest left UP without enough people to complete the necessary repairs. Kristen South, a spokeswoman for Union Pacific, said Sunday that the layoffs weren't the problem and the railroad remains committed to safety. Just a whole bunch of empty corporate words, right? Well, it won't be so empty in just a little bit here. Railroad safety has been a key concern nationwide this year, ever since another railroad, Norfolk Southern, had a train derailment. Nobody has learned, haven't they? Nobody has learned, it seems, since then. Catch fire in eastern Ohio, in East Palestine in February, right? The derailment prompted regulators and members of Congress to call for reforms, but few significant changes have been made since then. I'd argue that no changes have been made since then. So, buckle up, guys. It's going to be a wild ride for the next couple of years. I've been saying this for quite a bit. Those layoffs that UP announced last month came after the FRA wrapped up its inspection. I'm pretty sure it was coinciding with that, and they represent a tiny fraction of the railroad's workforce that numbers more than 30,000. Now, again, we don't know how significant these 94 locomotive craft employees and 44 carmen were to the safety within that yard. But, well, I mean, significant enough to cause, well, we'll get, oh, come on. I didn't click anything. Come on, Yahoo. Significant enough to cause this, right? So this is if we had the sound effect, and I wish I had my soundboard over here from Curb Your Enthusiasm. This would be the theme song after this. Oh, you know, hey, there's a lot of you got a lot of safety issues over here when you have 72.69% of your rolling stock that's got a defect. No, it's okay. We're fine. Bum 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 ba da ba dum ba da ba da da da. This is, I mean, you couldn't. this is like the beginning of a Hollywood disaster movie. Just coming in over here. September 14th, 2023. Now, I put these tabs in order. You know what? I'm gonna stick to my order. Okay. This was September 12th, 2023. Actually, before we get to the explosion, right? This is like the part of the movie where you see the explosion and then it goes in media res the day before. Union Pacific new CEO won't forego cuts as he works to improve safety and service at the railroad. Saying, oh, you know, Union Pacific's new CEO, who came into the job last night with a reputation for cost cutting, says he won't shy away from that, but no one should expect the kind of sweeping changes he made when he first oversaw the railroad's operations a few years ago. Jim Vena told investors Tuesday, these are the most important people to them, right? It's not their employees. It's not the people who live in these yards or around these railroads or anything like that. This is person number one to these board members and to these people here that work for any of these class ones or for any large company at this point. It's the investors. These are their golden calves that they bow down to, the investors. In his first public comments, and again, they know that at these meetings, it's not just investors at these meetings. It's a whole bunch of media and personnel are going to be there, so they're gonna BS the whole way through this, right? Just making sure, telling everyone everything's fine. We're gonna cut costs. We're gonna make more profit, but don't worry, we're gonna improve safety too somehow by cutting costs. I don't know how that's gonna happen. Well, mostly he wants to make sure Union Pacific's day-to-day operations are steadily improving. Yes, when you're operating the railroad, you don't make one big mistake normally. Oops. You cause yourself to impact the system, and you slow down, and then you can't provide the service. Oops. What happens when you make a lot of small mistakes, and if you make small mistakes, oops, they come back all of a sudden and add up, and you wake up one day and you go, wow. So that's what I want to make sure we're on top of, yes. Now, granted, is it his fault that he caused the explosion? No. I mean, did he just get there? Yes. Is it his fault? Not necessarily, but this has been an ongoing culture at the Class 1 railroads, and we've been seeing this going on. I mean, there's been countless explosions, derailments, Norfolk Southern, BNSF, CSX. I mean, you name it. It's been going haywire all over the place. Oh, look at this. This is funny over here at the end. But the current weak consumer demand amid uncertain. Okay, we know that the economy's been going bad, and we'll talk about that. Vena's comments about continuing to improve safety will likely be welcomed by the head of the FRA, who took the railroad to task in a letter last week detailing an alarming number of defects found by inspectors this summer on freight cars and locomotives in use at Union Pacific's largest rail yard. After Vena spoke with FRA Administrator Amit Bose on the phone Monday, he wrote a letter stressing Union Pacific's commitment to addressing the concerns and making any changes or repairs. Yes, again, so this was September the 12th, and then the day of the happening. Here we are, September 14th. Here's some video as well, so you can see how bad this was. Gee, when did we see something like this before? I mean, this is deja vu. We have been in this place before. Look at this. Everything is fine here. Nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see at all. Just a big pillow of toxic smoke just coming up from the largest rail yard in not just the country, but look at this. 4-mile evacuation has been ordered after rail. It's happening the same thing again. What we saw happen over in East Palestine, and will probably be happening again in other places. It's going to be happening again. Carrying toxic chemicals explodes, unleashing hazardous toxic smoke. Currently, numerous authorities and hazmat crews are on the scene of the Union Pacific Railroad tracks in North Platte, Nebraska, due to several rail cars catching fire and exploding, releasing hazardous toxic smoke in the air, as one container that caught fire contained a hazardous chemical called perchloric acid. Okay, I'm not going to pretend that I know what that is or whatnot, because I just did Chemistry 1, then that was it. Goodbye. I'm not taking any more chemistry. I'm going to physics. Now, I do know what happens when you don't take care of your engineering and things happen to not work well. I know what that can cause. right? So that's more of my end, right? Officials have sent out an emergency warning and are currently evacuating people within the 4-mile radius of the explosion. Exact same thing going on again. The Union Pacific Railroad says that there was no derailment, which is, again, this has been sort of the odd part, right? There's been no derailment, right? So, and again, you guys in the comments, tell me what you think. Could it have been an actual derailment and Union Pacific is lying? Could it have been a rail car that was just sitting there, it wasn't pressurized right, and then just went boom? Or it could have been, hey, you never know, somebody who got laid off was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and he decided to do redacted, and redacted. I don't know. We don't know what's going on. What we do know, well, we do know what's going on. That's going on, right? But we don't know the exact timeline. We don't have the exact camera and drone footage of everything that happened there, right? But what we do know is that the Class 1 railroads have been having a culture where you can't trust them, right? And you know, they're not taking responsibility for this, of course, you know, and what they're gonna send, you know, a couple $100 to the people around there. Their home values are going to decrease. We're gonna have well, I'm not quite sure what the ecology of this area here in North Platte, Nebraska, but it's probably not as, I'd say, more of a wooded area like East Palestine is. But if we do have rivers and places around there, I'm pretty sure we'll start seeing frogs and fish coming out of the water and toxic sludge and all that sort of stuff. It's the same thing that happens, right? It's the same sort of thing that's going to be happening over and over again, right? Well, here's the aerial footage over here. Right, so it's showing that there's no derailment, right? So that we do have some rail footage, right? I'm pretty sure, again, most likely, you know, it could have been that the rail car exploded because of just the continued negligence that the Class 1s continue to have thanks to precision scheduled railroading. It's trying to cut costs at every single corner to try to up that utilization rate, to try to up profits. Why? Because number one are the investors and the shareholders, not you, not the people who work here, and not you, and not this country. It's as simple as that. Okay? It probably exploded so hard that it derailed. Okay? Now, again, I don't know if it hit another car or whatnot. We don't know. And obviously, the people are lying here. We don't know. Let me see. I thought train derailments and explosions were already marked off this year's bingo card. The train car said we ain't done with 2023 yet. Okay, and look, we're trying to get back on Twitter a little bit. I'm not going to call it X. Okay, this whole thing that Elon Musk has had this obsession with since his PayPal days, that he wants to make it everything. I'm not going to kowtow to this whole thing. Okay, and I've said plenty enough about Elon Musk in the last several years, but I'm not. Got down to this. Okay, so here's the the Associated Press post about the what's going on over here. Again, it's not Reuters, but then again, Reuters takes a lot from here. It's the same thing. An explosion inside a shipping container at the world's largest rail yard prompted evacuations in western Nebraska Thursday because of the toxic smoke generated when one of the chemicals aboard caught fire. Around noon, an explosion occurred inside an intermodal container on a rail car at Union Pacific's Bailey Yard in North Platte. Though it wasn't clear what caused the explosion, railroad spokeswoman Robin Tisver said, no one was injured and no cars derailed. Well, I'm pretty sure it blew up so hard it derailed itself. So when this was written, it was a 1-mile radius, and then they went to a 4-mile radius. Interstate 80 wasn't affected by the smoke. It wasn't immediately clear how many homes were included in the mostly rural area that was evacuated on the edge of the city. North Platte, which is about 230 miles east of Denver and about 250 miles west of Omaha, has a population of about 23,000. So again, how bad can this get? We don't know. But it's going to get worse, right? Now, we've talked about precision scheduled railroading quite a bit on this channel, and it definitely does deserve its own video. I know I've been saying that for the last, 3-4 years at this rate. I've been saying a whole lot of things now for things just keep happening, right? And of course, again, no mention of precision scheduled railroading here in this whole entire article. Not a mention of schedule. Now, I don't know if it's maybe Josh Funk over here who's writing this. And he covers in Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, is he paid by Berkshire Hathaway? Because we do know who owns Union Pacific. Hint, hint. It is Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway. Although we'll get into who owns Union Pacific in a little bit, because we did this little song and dance before with who owns Norfolk Southern and who's taking responsibility, aka nobody. But again, here's the thing. Okay, so now this is saying container was containing perchloric acid, which is used in explosives as well as a variety of food and drug products. The car that exploded had been stationary for a couple hours beforehand, authorities said. Okay, so again, is it so bad now that we have to worry about ticking time bombs coming across the United States to a neighborhood near you? I don't know, because again, and it's been. I can understand that it's quite upsetting for people, and it's kind of scary. You know, imagine you're living next to a train tracks. I mean, where I live is next to train tracks, and I hear the train horns come out. I think I'm close to a CSX track, but you hear them every other hour, especially at night. You know, I don't want to wake up and think oh boy, is this train horn going to lead to a boom after that? I don't know, and we should be worrying about that. So let me see. Yeah, big ball of flame, just like we saw before. And it was just fire, 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 constant for 10, 12 minutes maybe, and then the fire went down and smoke kind of increased, and then there was just sparks coming out. Two plumes of smoke rose from the blast site. The east plume was like black smoke. The west plume was orange smoke, something I've not seen from a fire. Well, maybe it was perchloric acid, and if I do remember something from chemistry, is that different chemicals and earth minerals, they all blow up in different colors. That was the fun part, seeing things explode. That's all I cared about in chemistry. I just want to make things explode. not on the railroad though. Let me see. Here we go. Railroad safety has been a key concern. Here we go. Blah blah blah. Again, we're talking about this, that nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. So, talking about what is this whole thing about precision scheduled railroading? Well, according to Braves AI summarizer over here, right, and this is actually a good summary of it. Precision scheduled railroading is a new service model adopted by many North American Class 1 railroads to streamline operations and provide consistent, reliable, and predictable service to customers. PSR aims to transport the same or an incremental amount of freight with fewer cars, i.e. loading all the crap that you can in there and running it to the ground. Using a more simplified direct line of transport across the network, i.e. loading everything into you can and running the equipment to the ground. The strategy uses departure schedules and point-to-point delivery methods to achieve low operating ratios and consolidate railroad networks, i.e. loading everything in there, all the crap you can in there, and running it to the ground. PSR is associated with fewer staff, i.e. running your staff to the ground and laying them off, longer trains, and more. Okay, again, it's not safe. Of the largest 7 U.S. freight railroads, 6 have reported implementing PSR. However, some rail workers say PSR has made accidents, like last month's derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, more likely. Unions representing rail workers have denounced PSR, which aimed to boost profits by running bigger and faster trains with smaller crews. This is an actually good summary. I can trust the AI more than I can trust what Union Pacific's. And if you're looking down over here, what is precision scheduled railroading? Well, I actually did look at that. What does Union Pacific say is precision scheduled railroading? Okay. Here we are. Let's put on like some like corporate like piano music in the background, like the dumbed down xylophone, like in those millennial commercials or something like that. Actually, let me just see. I'm gonna try putting that now. Let me see. Corporate. Here we are. Corporate xylophone music. Here we are. Let's see. Hopefully we don't get no, I can't find it. Okay. Okay, now I'm just gonna put. I'm doing all this for a gag, guys. Now I'm wasting so much time for a gag here. And now doesn't want to look it up. Okay, come on. Corporate. Let me see. Royalty-free music. There we are. Corporate royalty-free music. Here we go. All right. There we are. There we go. Okay, there we go. That's the type of crap we want to hear.
Do you keep hearing about precision scheduled railroading but wonder what that really means? The short answer is, it's a new service model many North American Class 1 railroads have adopted or are adopting in an effort to streamline operations. Precision scheduled railroading, PSR, looks a little different from railroad to railroad, but at its core, it's intended to benefit customers by providing...
Okay, I'm not going to torture you guys with all that, but you get where I'm going at over here, right? Okay, so they're telling you, oh, we didn't get anything on time. Back then, before the Dark Ages, in the Dark Ages before precision scheduled railroading, trucks, railroads were flying off of schedule. Nothing was getting done. But now with PSR, we can get everything to you right on time for our shareholders. That's right. The result? Cars aren't always available when needed. The network is congested and service isn't as dependable. In addition to promoting network fluidity and more reliable service, this shift in focus also yields another important advantage. As trains continually move through the network, it becomes more balanced, meaning the right resources like crews, cars, and locomotives are in place when they're needed. I.e., using everything that you have there, running it into the ground at the expense of your workers and expense of the equipment. For railroads, it means more effective use of resources, i.e. running it to the ground. For customers, it means service is more reliable. Yes, I'm feeling very reliable right now. This is so reliable. Very, very reliable. Thank you. Much reliable. Thank you, Union Pacific. This is so reliable. What does that mean for rail customers? Good luck. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Because they're smoking out everybody out there with all the toxic chemicals they're putting into the air. Look at this. When looking at the bigger picture, many companies find that unscheduled nature of unit trains dwell caused by the old model actually required more resources and capital than the new model. Really? And here's a surprising thing. When you look at the overall cycle time of a unit train, source, where's the source? The time it takes the car to travel from its origin to its destination and back home again, blah. This is the longest parentheses ever used. People don't even know how to use parentheses. Of 10 times it exceeded the cycle's times of manifest. What is this corporate gobbledygook? I can't even follow along with it. Okay, here we go. Here's the dumbed down version. Rail cars don't have to wait for trains to reach a certain length to be moved. So when a car is scheduled for pickup, it will be pick up as scheduled, not canceled at the last minute. So they're just running things all over the place. When the car arrives at the service yard, it will be picked up as soon as local service allows, i.e. trying to get it out as quick as possible, rushing everybody to the ground. If the customer can't wait to receive the car on a day, they may be assessed for a daily charge. Okay, so passing the buck over. Except where proven to be the most efficient method, most cars will travel by manifest surface, not union train. So again, throwing everything wherever it can. It's going there, yeah, just throw it here, put it on that train, put it on that put that rolling stock over there. It's just going over there. And look at this. This is an actual picture that they put on here. This is an actual stock image on Union Pacific. You know who's here? You know who's here? The shareholders. Imagine you're going on a much-needed vacation to the Bahamas. Oh yes, because all of us here, all of us millennials here in the 2020s are really talking about a much-needed vacation to the Bahamas. How detached from reality are these people? You get to the airport and they're so excited. You can smell the salty salt air. But then, while waiting at the gate, an announcement comes on saying your flight has been canceled because there weren't enough passengers booked on the flight. What? You're told you have. This is ridiculous. They're trying to make this, and again, there is nothing here about the cons. Of course, it's not balanced. This is a corporate fluff piece to make it seem as no, this is great. There's not one. No, notice this, there's not one number here. Not one number of how, even if they wanted to be us the way to do this, right? They can say, in the last year, we've increased utilization rate by, or we decreased it by whatever percentage. They don't even put that. They don't even put a source. They don't even put anything on safety. This is just a corporate bullshit fluff piece. And I'm sorry for cursing. Hopefully YouTube doesn't kick me out right now, but I'm trying to hold it in. But yeah, this is just insane. And again, are people getting killed? Well, yes, because this is what's been going on too. This is back in November of 2022. A rail worker killed when fuel ignited on the tracks. How did fuel get on the tracks and ignite? Does it have something to do with maybe that these defects in 72.69% of the rail cars? So I can put that. Why, how about Union Pacific put that? What is precision scheduled railroading? Maybe they can put that it causes a 72.69 rate of locomotives of defect rates. Maybe they should put that in there, huh? How about that? Look at that. And people are dying. People are dying. This is what's just going to keep happening. This is going to keep happening. Oh man. 2 workers are on the track here. This okay. Back November 22. Yeah, November 5th, 2022. Near the 2600 block of East Hardy Road in Spring, when some fuel ignited, Harris County Fire Marshal's office officials said in a tweet. One of the men was rushed to the hospital, but he did not survive. The other was not injured. Union Pacific officials shared their condolences to the workers' family and said an investigation is underway where nothing got found, right? Nothing got found. They thought about it for a second, and, well, imagine you're going to a trip to the Bahamas, because that's probably what one of the shareholders did that November. Imagine going on a trip to the Bahamas, and they just get, oh no, the peons just got burned. Oh, well, may I get another drink, please? Thank you. I'm going to enjoy this trip to the Bahamas. Okay. And remember that little song we did about BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street? Ooh, look who it is. Union Pacific Corporation. Look who it's owned by. Look at that. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. The same three. The Cerberus keep popping their heads out. This many-headed hydra that has infected the American economy over here. Yes, Jonathan, we investigated ourselves and found no issue. Yeah, that seems to be the common thing. That used to be a joke for every police precinct. Now this is this is happening in corporations. You know, it's just bad. You know, none of the establishment can ever find any fault within themselves. Let me just look in the comments below. Brightline fan. Yes, the guy who introduced PSR was Hunter Harrison. I believe he was a Norfolk guy. I'm trying to make yes, these people make me sick. Yeah, indeed, this is sick. Imagine thinking a Bahamas analogy in any way resonates with the normal person. Exactly. Oh man. Adam, do European freight railroads have issues? Yeah, they have issues. In fact, I think one of their I believe on Deutsche Bahn, for some reason, somebody wanted to commit an act of trolling. And blew up like half the electric line, so the trains were stopped for a day. I'll bring that up. I don't want to get too out of context over here, but yeah, I mean, I've been following the news for the last couple of weeks, but I picked 3 things that we need to stick with. Let me see. Taking all bets that Berkshire will dump their rail stocks the moment real legal liabilities pop up, maximizing the shareholder value just for shareholders to cut and run at the end. Yeah, no, not only that, they'll get Look at how much the stock price is. Yeah, if we look at let me see the summary. Yeah, they're getting a discount. They'll get a discount. Let's see in the last 5 years. That's the problem. People say, oh no, they look at this. It's going down. Zoom out the graph. Okay, looking at in a year. Okay, they've gone from what is it, 212 to 212. Actually, I don't even think this is correct over here. I mean, yeah, if we want to go from 230, yeah, but that's not even a big deal. Look at in 5 years. This is when they started implementing precision scheduled railroading. So we've gone from a stock price of 146 to 213. Not that these numbers on a screen make sense or affect anything to you or me. You know, okay, so we have a 401k. Big whoop, you know, small number on screen goes up. Whoop-de-doo. How does that affect you to go to the grocery store and get eggs that are not at a ridiculous cost, or to get milk, or to have a job that's not going to lay you off every so often? How do these little beeps and bops affect you? Okay, that's the problem. So going into that, we're gonna head on to the next story over here, and we're talking about Guys, we've been saying this, okay? It's going to get worse before it gets worse, before it gets worse, and then it will start to get better. Now, I can't provide you with the date when it starts to get better, because if I could provide you with a date, believe me, I would provide you with that date. But I don't know when it's going to get better. All we can tell you, and let's end these with some takeaways, right? The takeaway is this: we can't trust any of the Class 1 railroads and the border management to look out for us or anybody in this country, or for even their own employees, right? And the people running these organizations at the board, they're not foamers or rail fans, or they care about the history or anything like that. No, they care about the beeps and bops and the little numbers on their screen and on their bank account. That's what they care about. They don't care about you. It's as simple as that, okay? And you know, frankly, these people, they don't want to see you succeed. They don't care about you succeeding, because all they care about in their is their vacation to the Bahamas. I could never read that. This is like something out of I don't know. This is out of like a comedy of some sort. Look at this. Little beach chairs. This is insane. All they were missing, all they had to put on there to make it like absolutely superb was to put like the Bohemian butler with his suit on and holding it, you know, holding like a pina colada or something like that. That would have been perfecto. That would have been just the icing on the cake. Oh man! But yeah, now we're going from a bunch of the fruits of corporate autocracy to another of the fruits of corporate autocracy over here, right? Okay, let me add one last thing. Okay. Now, we need to start talking about some sort of legislation that we need to bring, because it's not going to get done. We've talked about this. It's not going to get done at the federal level. You're not going to get high-speed rail. You're not going to get, you know, working transit or any sort of transformation in this country from the federal level. Okay? We've established that for years. I hope you guys have given up on any sort of any bit of significance. Because let's put it this way: yes, the FRA is getting out grants and stuff like that. That's fantastic. But the projects come from the local area. Yeah, sure, the money back can come from the top, but it's not going to be a big thing over here, all right? This is the big solution that I'm going to start looking at, and I'm going to get some lawyers to look at this as well, right? Because nothing much has happened since East Palestine in terms of regulating the railroads from up top, okay? The solution is the communities themselves, okay, whether it's the counties, towns, or townships, boards, whatever, cities, towns, whatever it is, right? They need to start banning and blocking railroads from passing within their boundaries. If you do not come, if your railroad does not meet specific safety criteria, you do not pass through X, Y, or Z area. You don't pass, okay? But it's the private property. How many times do code inspectors come onto your private property? And for stuff that's not even safety related, you can't even put a pool, if you wanted to, in your basement without the city and state inspectors from sniveling around and going on there. But you know what? The only reason that they do it is because of money, right? It's not for your safety, it's because of money. So for our safety, we want to make sure that we can get this done, right? So we're going to see if we can try to get some sort of boilerplate legislation that can be passed. I would say no more than a county level, right? Because if you can do it at town level, right? You know, every city and town has a code of inspection board, right? And they can go to private property and whatever and say that. But Army Freedoms, no, they do this every single time, okay? You know, you want to feel free, yeah, feel free and laissez-faire with all your. This is laissez-faire. You can feel free to breathe all this in. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. That's laissez-faire. That's there you go. That's what it is. Okay? There needs to be some sort of limits. Okay? You cannot have it to the degree. It's wrong. Okay? It's wrong. You cannot have this happening. Okay? It has to have a point. Okay? Protections exist. Okay? You're if you're in your own home, you have every single right. It's not a constitutional right or whatever it is. It's your God-given right to go ahead and defend yourself, right? Well, if this is your town and this is your home, you have every single right to tell a company that does not care for you that you cannot come and run your trains through, even if they're on private property, even though you own these rail yards, we can block it, okay? We will go ahead and get the nice new fancy police cars, get those nice new Ford Interceptors, and block the railroads. And if they run through them, then you build a railroad. And if not, then you take it away. You confiscate the railroads. It's as simple as that. You cannot let them run through that. So we're gonna start doing that. It's time to start bringing the hammer down a little bit here because nothing is happening. And I know I've mentioned this briefly back when the East Palestine thing happened, way back in February. We're talking about the same thing again. We need to make this happen. Okay, this is not right. Okay, look, I'm all for. I'm not all for capitalism because capitalism and communism are kind of the two heads of the same coin over here. There needs to be what's right. It's as simple as that. And this is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, this over here is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, this is absolutely this is sick and this is wrong. Okay, I'm pretty sure if I were to look more into the story, that the family of this poor worker who got burned to death here, they probably got nothing at all. Okay, just like the people of East Palestine, they got nothing. Okay, they got a couple $100, maybe some water bottles, and that's it. Their home values have been destroyed. Their families, their lives, their livestock, their homes that they've had for generations, gone, because these people don't want to follow the laws. Okay, so we're gonna start making them. That's as simple as that. If there's something we're going to start doing, this is the sort of legislation we need to start pushing forward in our own local communities. Okay, so we'll start working that. We'll get something out in the next couple of weeks, and especially now. Here's the easy thing, guys. With AI, you know how many easy things you can do now to write up of laws and legislation and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to make AI do the whole thing, but I'm going to read through it and make sure it all works. Get it to a lawyer, make sure this makes sense. And we're going to start doing some little test beds here and there, right? Because there's a railroad over here that's CSX. At some point, okay, they may screw up somewhere, but we're going to see what happens. We're going to make some mistakes. We're going to learn from them, and we're going to get some sort of game plan out for everybody else outside as well. Okay, let's calm down over here, and let's talk about this. Our favorite. Don't we all just love General Motors? Don't we all? Now, of course, the big three. I'm not so much of a fan of the big three. Maybe Ford, I can stand a little bit. I'm not calling it Stellantis. I'm still going to call it Chrysler. I don't care. You're Chrysler. You're not Stellantis. Stellantis. That's such a BS name. Stellantis. I'm not calling it Stellantis. You're Chrysler. Okay? Period. Chrysler. And GM. Oh, we just love GM. How GM has so loved this country. How they've fixed the infrastructure in this country. How GM. We love you guys, right? And now they're getting their due benefits now, right? We're at the third day of the auto workers strike, and I've been saying this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And people are like, well, no, maybe not. Maybe they'll get a. Have you seen the deal that Sean Fain tried to put out? Now, granted, I'm not a fan of either party over here, okay? The only reason I'm on the side of the unions is because it spites the... Okay, it's not the only reason I am, okay? Because American workers deserve a heck of a lot more. They deserve a ton more, okay? And I remember reading somewhere, I think, I don't know, but it was something to the effect that in the 1930s during the Depression, the average American wage was somewhere, it was like $2,800 a year, okay, or $3,000 a year, $2,000 to $3,000 a year, which inflated to today's inflation, right? And this was just the average wage back then in 1933. The average wage with that to inflation now would be $80,000. $80,000. Now, could you imagine that with the average wage now being what, 45, and it hasn't gone up in the last several, decades? Yeah, it sucks. But this is the problem. So yeah, now you know they're striking. I think about like 13,000. Okay, yeah, 12,700. Yeah, it's about 13,000, right? And it's going to increase as every day and every week goes on. But you know, it's just sad. You know, well, we're going to go through this, guys, and you know we can complain how bad it is and whatnot. You know what? Maybe we should start thinking another way. Maybe God put us here in this day and age to have some sort of fight of this. You know, we're not just going to look at this. So that's, again, we got to start getting back in the game over here. I definitely am, and hopefully we can start making this happen again. So let's see what over here, because I think the UAW asked if they wanted a 43% increase in their wage. Yeah, 40% wage hike. The UA is demanding through 2027, including an immediate 20% boost, which, you know, maybe that sounds a little crazy. Oh, that sounds you can't. But the workers, they need to get paid. Well, what about the CEO, who gets paid $29 million? She's given herself a raise, like a 30% raise. Yeah, 34% pay increase she has received. So is it too much to ask for the UAW to ask for an immediate 20% boost? I mean, they have a point. They have a point. And look, I haven't been a fan of unions in this country in the recent years, right? But they have a point. Okay, they have a point. So yeah, I'm cheering for them to go on, do as much damage as possible to GM. Okay, but the cars. You know what? You can get a nice. And funny enough, when you go through here, and the CNN has like this whole thing. And again, I'm not a fan of CNN. You guys know that. Most of you guys aren't a fan of CNN either. But they have this all put out here. But when I scroll down over here, strikes could help Toyota's new truck. Buy a Toyota. You know what? Because a lot of Toyotas are actually built here in the United States with non-union workers, right? You can go in Princeton, Indiana. They build the Sequoias. They build the 4Runners, the Tundras. And I'm looking to get a used Sequoia at some point. I can't afford one right now, unless it has like, you know, a gajillion, 400 gajillion miles on it. But you know, I have to wait for the prices to go down, hopefully within a year or so. But you know, and this strike is not going to help, right? Because we've been saying about this, the price of cars, you know, the prices of cars is too damn high. It is, and it's gone ridiculously high. And it's going to get higher now because of these this railroad strike, because it's going to cause a whole shift in the supply chain that's already been broken. And we talked about this back in 2019, right? The supply chain was a house of cards ready to fall, and the CUF was the thing that just caused that whole thing to fall apart. So we're living in a broken supply chain right now. Yes, there's sometimes in some days it works fine, but it's not there. It just isn't. And just-in-time delivery doesn't work for everything. Okay, that works when you're Toyota and you own every single supplier that supplies your truck. Because I mean, when I worked at Toyota, they owned almost every single supplier. And if something happened, let's say in Japan, that there was a tsunami or something like that, because that did happen when we were working there, and you know they couldn't get a certain part. Great, we have another factory in Indiana that can make the same exact part. It will be on within 2 weeks, and we'll be back up to the production. That's just in time works when you've gotten it to work. Not for every single thing. You can't have just in time delivery for food and all that sort of stuff. It gets to a point where it gets ridiculous. You can't Walmart the American economy, and we're living in the Walmart economy. That's what's going on. But let's look at the hubris here. The Bahama takers here, the Bahama vacationers. Here we go. Let's put this on. Let's see the hubris out of these people. Here we are.
4 years. They're asking for that in part because they say CEOs like yourself, leading the big three, are making those kind of pay increases over the course of the last 4 years. You've seen a 34% pay increase in your salary. You make almost $30 million. why should your workers not get the same type of pay increases that you're getting leading the company? Well, if you look at compensation, my compensation, 92% of it is based on performance of the company. I think one of the strong aspects of the way our compensation for our represented employees...
Wait. Mary Barr, are you there on the line? Are you there putting the nuts and bolts together? Performance? Wait, are you performing anything? Are you performing?
Design is not only are we putting a 20% increase on the table, we have profit sharing. So when the company does well, everyone does well. And for the
except for the workers.
That's resulted in record profit sharing for our represented employees. And I think you have to look at the whole compensation package, not only 20% increase in gross wage, but also the profit sharing aspect of it, world-class health care, and there's several other features.
Okay, I can't stand to hear this anymore. Wait. Hold on.
So we think we're very competitive on the table, and that's what we're trying to get right this stuff. But if you're
Okay. All right. Oh man. Oh, I'm sorry if the sound is double. It's probably coming. You know what I have got? If you could look at the setup I have now, I took a TV from the other room to go ahead and act as my monitor over here. So I'm looking at this like Samsung 27-inch TV over here. That's why I'm kind of like this, just looking at it while I have the articles up. While I don't have my usual setup over here. But I apologize if the sound is double. It probably should be coming from my headphones over here. I don't know why it's not. Again, it just happens. But apologize. But yeah, it's what's going on right now, right? Let me see. It's funny that Toyota is a Japanese car company, but 4Runners and Tundras don't exist. Yeah, the larger vehicles exist over here. And they're starting to make some of the smaller cars here as well. Yeah, BMW makes cars over here. Hyundai makes cars over here. Honda makes cars over here. Yeah, so if you guys want to say, you want to buy American, buy a Toyota. Buy a Honda. Honda Accords are made here. Civics are made. Pilots, CRVs. CRVs are made in Indiana as well. There's a lot of cars we make here in the Hoosier State. Okay, there's a lot of good stuff over here. But yeah, look, this is the thing. If you want to stop buying GM. Absolutely stop buying GM. Right? That's number one. And I'm sorry for the workers over there. I'm sorry. These guys are pulling you down. If you want to face, I'm sorry. This is a face that's pulling you down. Her performance over here hasn't been good. These cars don't perform well. They break apart. I don't know how many times. And yeah, dealership markups are ridiculous. You want to get a Ford Ranger? This was a car that Ford was saying, yeah, this is going to be a starter car for millennials. You know, a $19,000 small pickup truck, like pickup truck size should be, right? And I've seen the Maverick. It looks like a great truck, or it's a great little truck, right? But you're not going to find one for $19,000. You go online, you're going to find them for at minimum maybe $34,000. Okay, used car prices, average used car prices are about $24,000 to $26,000. It's gone insane. So and this is the problem. You've gotten to the point where we're forced in this country to take a car to go to work, to get from point A to point B, because Mary Barra's predescendants over here within General Motors have thought it was a great idea for their own bottom line to get rid of the streetcars that we had here in the United States and to get rid of the rail car infrastructure that we had in place since the beginning of the century that was working perfectly fine. It was working fantastic. They wanted to get people into cars. Okay, they slid in the buses. Okay, notice nobody wants to ride on a bus because the buses in a lot of places in a lot of cities are terrible to get on. Look, I'm fine with buses. It'd be great because when I went to Japan, when we got, and again, I know I keep bringing up Japan, but this is like a good example. We should be bringing up good examples. It's what works. Okay, you got off of a station. If you needed to get off a train station, you needed to get somewhere around in the vicinity. There'd be a lot of router vans and circulator buses that would go around the area and take you on. And the buses were clean. They were safe. I didn't have to worry about somebody asking me if I had games on my phone, or somebody asking for the ambulance after they got knocked in the head. Okay, they were fine. I didn't have to worry about it. In fact, in the whole entirety of Japan, I didn't have to have my head on a swivel. Okay, but that's an entirely different story. This is just, you know, it's what it is. Yeah, they really care about these people on. It's the same generation that's still running everything. Okay, just give up. Let us. We can't even afford a home. Just give up. Let us have some sort of charge, please. We can't keep coming in with a little bowl. So we're gonna have to just start making some waves. But yeah, but it will affect the railroads too because, well, funny enough, GM still relies on the railroads to get their product from point A to point B. All those Corvettes that Maribara's generation that they'll be riding into the disabled parking slots. Because I've seen, we were getting out of Kroger today, and I say, oh yes, a new Corvette in just the space where it belongs, in the disabled parking spot. Yes, this is exact. You can't afford that. You know, but it's the same people who could afford a Corvette when they were, 19, earning minimum wage. They could afford a Corvette. Are the same people who can still buy a Corvette now. But I digress. Anyway, so a lengthy UAW strike would curb U.S. railroads' auto volume, which a lot of cars go on. It's about a good percentage, right? Motor vehicles and parts have accounted for 3.2% of U.S. rail traffic, according to the Association of American Railroads data. The segment is up 13.4% so far this year, while overall U.S. traffic has slumped 4.8%, according to the AAR. So get ready for another round of layoffs, because the layoffs that will be happening, or the slumps that will be happening because of the strike. And again, they should be striking, but it's going to affect everybody, right? The price of cars are going to skyrocket up. Okay, take away from here, guys. If you have a car, take care of it. Unless it's really bad and you have a lot of money saved up, fine, get a nice used car, maybe under 150 or 200,000 miles if it's good or something like that. Don't buy a new car, please. For everything only, don't buy a new car. Do not. Okay, I don't know how many times I've heard of new Chevrolet pickups that are failing at 25,000 miles. Because their engines are basically blowing up on themselves. New Chevy Silverado is blowing up. I don't know if you guys follow the Scotty Kilmer channel. I follow that for years. But there was one video there like a month or two ago. It was talking about that. Yeah, they're terrible cars. Norfolk Southern directly serves just over half of all light vehicle production in the U.S., with the big three accounting for 30 to 40% of the railroad's automotive volume. CEO Alan Shaw said at the FTR Transportation Intelligence Conference yesterday, there are finished vehicles waiting to be moved, so we could see normal volumes on us for a week to 10 days before it has any impact, Shaw says, of potential strike. Auto sales have rebounded this year, yeah, a little bit, from the computer chip shortage. It has less to do with the computer chip. I mean, look, they've been talking about my chips. My chips since the coup, okay? We've been having a chip shortage since before the coup, okay? I mean, come on, how many times have you heard in November of 2019 that they couldn't ship enough PS5s because they're having a chip shortage? So this is before the coup, right? The supply chain has been on stilts for quite a long time, on rotten stilts, okay? So it's collapsed, okay? It has nothing to do with the chips. It has to do that people can't afford the cars. The only people who can't afford the cars are the people who've had the money for, well, decades, okay? But it's not, millennial Mike that are buying, new cars. Yeah, here or there, but, on, a 50% APR lease of $120,000 a month. What can you expect? Last three, the big three accounted for 43% of U.S. auto sales. Make that number smaller. You want to support American workers, buy a made in America, Toyota or Hyundai or Kia, or, I mean, even BMW, they make cars, I think, in South Carolina. The X6 or some of those cars. Man. Yeah, and then ripple strikes throughout the economy. Now, one last point, because it just came into my mind, and we'll talk about this in another video because it needs to be talked about. If you guys are familiar with the company known as McKinsey and Company, right? So McKinsey, Deloitte, and all these companies, they're these big three consulting companies, right? And Bain Capital and Boston Consulting Group. These are all these big consulting groups. back in the 1950s, there was this guy named Arch Patton. Yeah, we got the bad timeline. Instead of getting a President General Patton, we got Arch Patton in the realm of McKinsey and Company, who went to GM. Okay, and like the worm tongue that he was, he went to the CEOs, because the CEOs are the guys that are paying him, right? And he says, hey, you guys should pay yourself more. You're paying me to tell you to pay yourselves more because you deserve it. You performed well. You deserve it. So that's what happened in the 1950s. I think 1952 or whatever that he made that. And GM was the first company. Of course, GM, you gotta love General Motors, right? They're the first ones that signed on to this. And they started paying their own CEOs more. Because back within the 1950s, CEO pay wasn't ridiculous. It was, inflated to today, maybe about $300,000 to $500,000. Okay, so your average worker would be getting paid, and I'm just coming up. When I do a video on this, we'll get some real numbers on here. But let's say your average entry-level worker was getting paid in today's money $50,000 to $60,000 or $70,000, right? Your average CEO back then was getting paid in today's wage money about $300,000 to $500,000. Now they're paying themselves $30 million because you deserve it. It's like a bad L'Oreal commercial. But ripple effects on the economy, yep, you can talk about that. 13,000 workers striking. Won't be getting paychecks while they're out of work. They will receive $500 a week in strike pay from the union. But on average, that only replace 40% of their lost wage. Okay, this is impact on supply chains. Automakers have lived through several years of parts orders, so Elric thinks they'll be slow to cancel their orders with suppliers. And that's going to be a thing. And again, you see dealerships right now, and in my line of work, we're just trying to buy in as many vehicles and everything in order to make sure we don't get affected by this, because this is the problem, right? If you're a dealership and you know this is going to be happening, you're going to be getting in a whole bunch of vehicles, which maybe that'll make the price go down because supply has gone up, but that supply is going to get tight. And well, there you go. There goes the dealer markups to infinity and beyond. If the strike drags on for 8 or 10 weeks, though, Elric says the impact will likely be far-reaching. The impact of would-be car buyers, again, guys, get a used car. You don't have to worry about the supply chain when the car is used. Well, the past supply chain, right? It happened before. But if you want a specific model for one of the big three, strike could make it harder to find, if it wasn't already hard enough to find. New car prices rose 0.3% in August after 4 months of flat or falling prices. Again, if you zoom out the graph, it's been pretty bad. We'll get to that another time because we're starting to run on time here. The impact of economic growth, yeah, it's going to be bad. Okay, I don't have to go through a whole article to tell you it's going to be bad. I can just write this whole thing here. It's going to be bad, and put Demetrius Villa there at the bottom. But who owns General Motors? Here we go again. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. It just writes itself at this point. It just writes itself. Okay, but again, big takeaways. Take care of your stuff. If you are going to buy a car, go buy a Toyota. Go buy a used Toyota. Go buy a used Toyota. Oh man. Jonathan, I wonder if this is how people felt during the Bronze Age collapse. I don't know. At least back then they weren't on a whole bunch of SSRIs, and they had families back then. See that's the difference. Because at least back during the Depression, things were bad. You still had family. Okay, us in our generation were the loneliest generation, and Gen Z too included. When I say us, millennials and Gen Z were kind of, especially the younger millennials like me, the ones born in the 1990s, right? Because millennials in the 1980s, half of them have gotten through it, half of them have not. They're kind of on the same boat, but they're kind of not. But definitely anybody who's born in the 1990s and 2000s, we're all kind of stuck here. But that's just what it is. How is the Toyota? Let's look up the Toyota stock. I won't be surprised if it's still BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. The thing is, let me see. Toyota, I think, is Here we go. Holders. Oh, interesting. That's a whole. There you go. It's different. Fisher Asset Management LLC, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and they don't even own they don't even own 1%. And the thing is, I think the Toyota is mostly a privately held company. That's sort of the thing, where it's mostly held by themselves. So yeah, that's sort of the difference. You don't give them that much control. It's not like GM. Yeah, look at that. BlackRock owns 0.04%. I'm pretty sure they don't get much of a say in Toyota. Unlike in, let me see, in General Motors, they own 9.57%, right? So we're talking about 20 times more or less. That's insane. I had a Toyota Yaris, it served me that I got wrecked, now I own a Ford. Well, it depends on the Ford if you have it. You know, some Fords are pretty, I had a Ford Focus. It was made in Mexico, funny enough. The CVT transmission on the 99 and 02, like 04, 05 Ford Focus were absolutely, that was a nightmare. I could not drive on the highway because it just keep shifting back and forth between pseudo third and pseudo fourth gear. Because CVT transmissions aren't actual, gears. They just kind of shift. It's terrible. But it saved the house. I'll say it that way. It was a good chassis because it saved the house when Hurricane Irma came coming through. And it saved the tree from slamming into the house. I will say that. Anyway, it's just what it is. Let's get into some good news, right? Here's some good news. Brightline, we have a bright spot in here. Again, we have two paths that we can go along. We can go along the path of greed and hatred for your own workers, the path of greed, or the path of trying to do good. You can still make money, you can still have a good company, but the company needs to serve the people, right? The company needs to serve the nation, it needs to serve the people. Okay, and that's what Brightline is doing, right? It's serving the state of Florida, it's serving the people who live in Florida, and it's serving the visitors who come to Florida, right? So it's doing its due diligence here and beyond. Okay, so September 22nd, mark your date on the calendar. Service to Orlando will officially begin. This is it. This is the big kahuna that Brightline has been banking on since its inception when it was all aboard Florida. Miami to Orlando in less than 3 hours. And it's delivered. It's going to deliver it. Opening Orlando fulfills our ultimate business model. We have seen incredible enthusiasm from the business and tourism industries eager to travel between Central and South Florida, says Patrick Goddard, Brightline president. As we start service to Orlando for peak holiday seasons, I encourage everyone to check calendars, make plans, visit our website or app, and reserve a seat now. Yeah, and the prices are pretty good. For a limited time, Brightline is offering one-way smart fares starting at $79 for adults, $39 for kids. That's not bad compared to, let me see, what on the Shinkansen, we paid about $110 US, right? Now, granted, it went faster, but in less from Tokyo to Osaka in that amount of time. Yeah, and this is a pretty fair price, right? One-way premium fare start at $149. Yeah, and to get like these are pretty fair prices. To get a first-class seat, that's what it is. A first-class experience added amenities including dedicated lounge, priority boarding, checked luggage, and complimentary snacks and beverages throughout the journey. Okay, so this is a good thing. It's finally what America has been needing for quite a long time. It's taking a while, right? But we're getting there, step by step. This is not an overnight change that we make in this country. It takes time to get there, and this is what we've been doing. So, yep, coincide professional soccer match pitching, Inter Miami battling an in-state rival, Orlando City at Exploria Stadium in downtown Orlando. Yeah, so it tells you guys who are into MLS soccer, I guess you can go into that. Anybody who has the annual or seasonal pass at Disney World, even though it's ridiculously expensive, there's a whole lot to do, right? It's going to be great. Finally, that we're getting this in. And for people who, going down south, if you're, traveling into Orlando, you can take this to go to Miami, or you can now visit family and go back and forth between Miami and Orlando. And of course, there'll be the expansion that they're looking for to Tampa, probably up to Jacksonville and in between there. The sky's the limit with this, right? And of course, with the expansion over west with Brightline West, which will be probably the first electrified actual true high-speed rail that can reach 200 miles an hour in the United States. Okay, so that's actually something. Another article over here. Yeah, they had to. It was going to launch on September the 1st. They waited for me. They waited for me to go ahead and stream. Not a joke. Look, the hurricane came in. They had to stop it on there, but it finally got it going, right? So yeah, this is great. Maybe we'll do a stream. We'll talk about Brightline. We'll have like a Brightline lounge stream to celebrate on opening day on Friday. For those of you asking if I'm going to be going there, no, unfortunately, I got work, I got stuff. We'll try to see if I can get there sometime in the winter, which in Florida means a cooler summer. Maybe we'll get there. That's definitely on the plan. Well, again, step by step, we'll get there, guys. I wish I could come in with a big bang here at ARC, but it's taking a bit. We're getting there. We're trying to get back on track over here. Okay, this is basically the same article. Probably it was a press release by Brightline, and they're copying and pasting. Let's look at here. Let's look at Twitter over here. Not gonna call it X. Here you are. Here you are. Yeah, it's the future's looking bright. You're gonna need these sunglasses on. There you are. Let's see what this video is. And it was Brightline, new standard in life. Yeah. Again, once people get to see, what they've been missing in other countries, and what makes sense. It makes sense, right? You don't have to drive to Orlando every single time. There you are, opening in Orlando, September 22nd. Grand opening, September 22nd. There we are. Yeah, and it's here, and there you go. Roaming Rail fan, here we go. This looks cool. Let's put this on. All aboard Florida, all aboard. It's been quite a bit, but finally, yeah, we're here. It's here. Let me see. Brightline is pulling a silly. Brightline, the only provider of modern, eco-friendly intercity rail in America. I mean, what compared to who? Amtrak? Okay, let's give Amtrak a pass. I know there's been some hits back and forth between Brightline and Amtrak, but hey, sorry, you snooze, you lose. At some point, somebody's going to provide it. The market shall provide. Here's where we can be capitalists here, right? The market shall provide, and it does. Yeah, this is looking good, guys. At least a good thing, right? That we can talk about. Brightline can change Miami, including nightlife. Brightline nightclub. Some sort of. I've never been on TikTok, and I never will be on TikTok. I don't know. I'll say never, but the channel and the need to get to and contact people it's gonna need to happen, right? Yeah. So I mean, look, we're finally here that this is gonna happen. So that's at least some good news, right? That's at least some good news. All right. Let's see, here in the comments, yep, Brightline is a big game changer. How about people still opposing Bright? I think that the opposition is silenced out, right? I think they've stopped at this point, because I haven't heard anything. At this point, it's all been good news. We have the train on there, okay? The actual physical rolling stock is there. It's rolling. People see it. People see the colors. People can see the stations. People can ride on it. They can experience it, and it makes sense to them. They like it. They enjoy it. That in itself will kill out any sort of opposition. I think there are going to be the people who are going to be the never Brightliners, right? The never Brightliners, and well, they can that's it. Who cares? It's done. It's a done deal, and it's working. It's as simple as that. And again, let me see. Will you cover the TCR Amtrak partnership? I'll cover it. Again, there's a whole lot of stuff I want to cover, guys. I know, like, there's some other things, like, for example, California now putting out their procurement for rolling stock. Finally, after how many years? It took Brightline to get to Miami to Orlando already. Brightline has opened from Miami to Orlando. And California they still haven't put an actual physical rail on their viaducts, on their concrete. High-speed concrete still goes on. But hey, we wish California the best. We want them to get their railroad in at least before everybody leaves California, right? Get it done before you have like one person there. It's like they'll have opening day. It'll be Gavin Newsom with the cane, and then like some other like Californian that's there like in the store. It's finally here. It's finally here, like that video we did years ago. Yeah, and the whole Caltrans and everything else is going on there. We will talk about that in the future, hopefully, but there's a whole lot of things. You were a huge part of Brightline's success, Demetrius. Don't be modest. Again, it was a great thing to help them and everything. So it was great. And I'm glad to see this come to fruition and see this complete. This is a fantastic development here. Okay, yeah, and this sort of thing that's going to keep happening with the it's going to take 88 people, and this is the sort of people that keep going this. The never Brightliners. Again, I don't know if this guy is a never Brightliner or whatever, or what we're going to call them. The FNAB, Florida Not All Aboard, if we're still on with that. But look, we've talked about this. You don't go on a railroad track. Are people going to talk about how many people die every single day? Record numbers now in the United States to cars. I was going to talk about that. Again, they struck after their SUV was struck. The SUV, what was it doing on a railroad track? Simple as that. I'm not going to talk about that. We've talked about that plenty of times. Okay. David Mitchell, when is the next live stream? We're probably going to put it for next weekend. We'll look at either to see Friday or Saturday. Again, the whole Sunday thing was because we wanted to. I was trying to get Saturday, and I said, okay, technical issues are happening. Let's push it to Sunday. We got it done here on Sunday. We're here. We'll start getting back to the actual videos too, and posting stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. So yeah. Let's see what else is here in the comments. I like the Brightline model, but I think it will be hard for them to expand outside of Florida's urban cores. No, and look, and here's the thing. We've talked about that. You're not going to have the map that we've all seen and loved about a whole national high-speed rail system. That's not going to happen in this country. At least with the current type of political structure that we have in this country. That's never going to happen. However, you can have regional hubs of high-speed rail. You can have high-speed rail within Florida and the South, up to Georgia and South Carolina and Alabama. You can have California high-speed rail. You can have Texas high-speed rail. You could have in the Midwest high-speed rail with Chicago as a hub, and at Indianapolis to Milwaukee, to Cleveland and Cincinnati and other places around in the Midwest. So you can have that happen. Seattle and Portland, Pacific Northwest side. So there are plenty of places where it can happen. Okay, Chicago to St. Louis, right? we talked about that for years. We know there are several places that between 200 or 500 miles or so, that is this a sweet spot for high-speed rail. Now, of course, it goes beyond high-speed rail. We're talking about intercity rail transit and transit within a city and within an urban area, streetcars, other heavy rail, and other sort of stuff. That sort of thing does work, right? Now, of course, in order to have working passenger rail, we also have to have our freight railroads. Our freight rail cannot be this, okay? This cannot be the constant state of freight railroading. So that is something that's going to have to change too. But you look at the Brightline model, right? Brightline, the Florida East Coast Railroad, right? A historic railroad that if it were not possible, if Henry Flagler did not come and build the Florida East Coast Railroad, you would not have Florida. Okay? Now, that could be a bad thing for some people. Some people saying, "Oh, I wish Florida didn't exist." Now, of course, I have my things about South Florida, right? But still, okay. If somebody gave me a choice between South Florida and California, I'm going South Florida. I'm not going to even think about it. I'm going to Florida. Okay, you cannot drag me to California. And I'm sorry for the people who live in California, but that's just me talking as a native. It's like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, right? Okay, even though, yeah, you have Florida man, but here I am, Florida man. Florida man, transplant Hoosier. But yeah, this is the thing. You had a freight railroad company, right? The Florida East Coast Railroad. And what it said, hey, we need to have a spinoff to bring back our passenger rail line. And this is a fantastic place to put it. We can get it between Miami and Orlando to start out with for our big phase. That's what we want to get to. And they did it, right? This is what works, right? It's the exact sort of thing. Now, you don't hear about, bright lines falling off the track and exploding, or Florida East Coast Railroad. Now, yeah, they've had some accidents here and there. And, of course, people in their cars and in their SUVs, Karen in her SUV who tries to beat the train. You're not going to have a good time trying to beat a 100,000 ton, 80 mile an hour object coming at you. It's not going to work out. But here's the thing. They got it done. Okay? These are the two paths that America can be on. Right? We need to start looking at our own local areas and seeing what we can do. Okay? So definitely first thing we're going to start is trying to make sure that we can stop this from happening. First again, we have leaks on our boat here. Right? Let's switch our analogy a little bit. We need to plug the leaks. This is something that needs to stop. Okay? It's not going to stop overnight. It's not going to stop in the next couple of years. But we need to start making people scared. And the people that need to be scared are the people who go to the Bahamas every single time, right? The people who write articles like this, okay? The people who look at the little tickers over here, and they're checking their tickers. They want the tickers, okay? We gotta check the tickers, and the people like this that think they need to pay themselves first, right? Because there's an I in team, and they're the whole team. They're the whole thing here. Look at that smug. Look at this. I've said, well, you know what? I can't say it. I can't say it because YouTube will definitely ban me. Okay? I was gonna go Sam Hyde over here, but I'm not. If you know, you know. Okay? If you know, you know. Okay? But at least we can start getting them. We can start getting them to jump on their feet. Okay, that's at least the first thing we need to do, right? So we'll start with that. All right, folks. Yes, Brightline is a bright line. Yes, it's a bright thing. Renella's asking, is Brightline doing Atlanta to Charlotte next? No, they're gonna do. We're gonna get Victorville. Where's the map? I actually did see a map over here on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. It's still Twitter. Oh, there with this Mini Cooper. For some reason, the dumbest people in the world keep putting their cars in front of Brightline trains. Exactly. Rides that will beat you. Here we are. Look. Here we are. Remember this? I don't know how to drive. I don't know. You're gonna go when the train there you go. That's what happens. Is that Brightline's fault? Did Brightline jump out and be like, another tasty morsel for me, the killer train? No, it didn't do that. All right, there we go. Here's the map. Here we go. There we go. Yep. This is Brightline's next endeavor. Las Vegas to Victorville, which will connect it down to LA, right? At some point. But at least over here you have some sort of connection, right? That's the start. So honestly, if I wanted to connect that from there, I'd probably go. I just go ahead and just give the finger to California High-Speed Rail and do LA to San Diego. What we've all been saying that California High-Speed Rail should have been doing from the beginning. LA to San Diego. Less than 100 miles, right there, a close enough place, a fantastic place that Amtrak has a lot of money coming in there, and a lot of profit, a lot of ridership with the Surfliner. Why didn't you do that first? Well, and funny enough, Siemens now does the rolling stock now for the Surfliner, because with Amtrak's new rolling stock that they just got this the last couple months. So that Siemens is making a lot of money, and that's good. You know, they're making good rolling stock. Why not, right? Brightline, Illinois, yeah, that's another thing. You know, Chicago to St. Louis. So yeah, we'll get there. Hey Ruben, here you go. To be honest, as a train engineer, I always aim for helpless cars on my tracks. I'll drink to that, man. All right, but yeah, I think we'll leave for comments. 9:26. We're actually on time here. We can actually end at 9:30. Like I said, an hour to an hour and 30 minutes. So I think we're good. We'll go ahead and answer a couple comments over here before we end the stream. I think we're pretty good over here. It's been a good night. It's been a good night. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back in action over here. Back on track. We are back on track. Mohammed Qureshi, good evening all. Considering how many people don't understand railroad crossings, Florida highway funding should pay for underpasses to make Brightline fully grade separated. Yeah, the railroads were there first. It's as simple as that. The railroads were there first. It was the highways and the roads, the engineers of the roads that built the roads. Well, at grade crossing on they didn't build overpass. At least in Aventura now they have a major overpass project now there on Ives Dairy Road and US 1, which is cutting down a lot of accidents, because there was a lot of accidents underneath that underpass over there where crossing the railroad tracks, and that was the city paid for it. The city and the county paid for it. Okay, not Brightline. That's what they should do. You want to decrease on accidents? Fine. Move the roads. You built the roads there. Move them up. Yeah, great. I'm great to be back. Amtrak Hiawatha from Chicago to Milwaukee back all day. Literally smells like fun. Yeah, that's the problem with Amtrak. You know, they have an image issue. They're trying to fix it. They got new rolling stock in and everything. So yeah. What Amtrak trains outside the NEC have the most frequency? Funny enough, the Hiawatha, the Surfliner, the Auto Train, those are the big three, and probably the Cascades. Those I would say are the big. In terms of frequency and ridership, those are the big ones. Federal tax law should be changed to allow freight railroads to double track all main lines. This is the only way to get enforceable high-frequency rail and passenger rail prioritization. Yeah, to a point, it makes sense, right? There are some places that it should make sense to double track. The Florida East Coast itself was quadruple tracked in a lot of places. Okay, they had a lot of traffic and ridership in the 1920s. It was insane. All right, guys, but well, we're glad to be back. It's been good. I'm glad that you guys are still here for me. That's you know, and that's the important thing. I do this here for you guys. I felt bad in the last couple months, and you can ask Catherine, my girlfriend. You know, I just feel bad. Like, you know, I'm missing out. You know, they need me. I need to be back there. I need to be doing what I need to be doing to get this moving ahead and going forward. And I'm glad to be back. Okay, I do this for you guys. Okay, it's less for my sake and it's more for you guys. Okay, because definitely, and again, the whole thing with YouTube, I do it because I like doing it, and I like seeing this. Now this puts a smile on my face, right? Seeing this happen, right? It would have been possible if you wouldn't have gotten started here on YouTube as first starting the High Speed Rail America Club and now the American Rail Club, because we have to encompass more than just high speed, right? We have to do more. Yes, 100%. Thank you, whoever put that on there. The only way to get high-speed rail is to divorce it from freight rail. Yeah, that's another thing too. You can't be running high-speed rail on freight railroad lines. High-speed rail lines doing something in Chicago. Yeah, and I've been keeping up with them a little bit. I'll get back to making connections with everybody back again. Will you be on the inaugural run of Brightline to Orlando? Unfortunately, I will not be there, but I will hopefully get down to South Florida to ride from Miami to Orlando at some point soon. Okay, I'm planning it out. It will happen. Hopefully in the next, before the end of the year, we'll get there. We're here always for you. Thank you, John. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Don't feel bad. Happy you spent time on you. Hope you'll be going to knock your around. I've told you. I wish I could. I wish I could. Look, if Brightline were to call me tomorrow and say, "Hey, we'll pay you to come down and do it," yeah, I'll do it. You know, I haven't kept. Look, that's my bad. Mea culpa on me. I haven't kept up with my end of the deal and keeping up with contacts of people that I've had. Yeah, we will run a Florida meetup again. We'll get there. All right, folks. I think we'll end it on that. This was great. Thank you all for coming back on board. We appreciate you being aboard on this wild and being here on this wild and wacky ride. We will be back soon, next week, here on the American Rail Club. We will see you all next time. Godspeed.